Hey vinyl community, Jeff here with a non-vinyl update. I got a set of CDs in just recently, in the past couple of days. I've been listening to them all day. I'm excited about it because it's a band that is, near and dear to my heart from years ago. Love them, hate them. A lot of people hated them. It's one of those things. A lot of people were like, blah blah, production, this, that, whatever. But there are a lot of fans out there, and I'm one of them. And I've been a fan since the early days. What was the first album? It was in '86. I'll show that in a second. I'm not gonna be too long-winded, but I wanted to show this because I thought it was really cool to finally get all this together like an anthology, even though it is on CD. And this is for Stryken. Stryken, you can see they got the '80s look. They got the armor that they've got made and everything. This is called the Precious Metal Box Set, and what it is, it's made up of 3 CDs. 2 of these have been previously released. I'll show that in a second also, but the third one is tracks that have not. So what we have here is we have a reissue on gold disc of, for the most, plus some other stuff, of the Stryken album from 1987. And then they've added some other songs on here, which I have yet to read this liner notes on to find out where some of these came from. It's, like I said, it's a collab. It's got all the songs on here. You'll see for the pretty much everything the band's done. They only had one album out in 1987, and this tracks are contained on this. Let me just show you real briefly the early stuff, and I've shown these in previous videos before. So in 1986, they released a 2-song single. Self-done on their own label, sold through the mail, has Rock On and Surprise on it, and then flipped on the other side. Just a 2-song single. So I bought this. They are a Christian band, and I bought this through, I think, an ad I saw in CCM magazine back in the 80s, and I purchased it. And yes, fell in love with it. Very anthem-y, basic thunder rock. I guess it's a basic plodding anthem-y type thing, except Surprise, which is a really weird Pink Floyd-ish sounding thing. People were saying, it sounds like Pink Floyd, because it's really kind of strangely done. And then the following year, they released First Strike, again on their own label. Again, they've got this whole Armor of God idea with this armor, basically bike gear and other things on here. So, and it came with an insert that I've shown this before, and you probably can't really see it here, but has Jeff and Veronica McCormack. And then this is a friend of mine from a band back in the day also. But we had sent money, kind of like the early days of the Kickstarter program. We sent money to the band to help fund it. We got our name on the credits. So this is the full album. This is 1987, and it was on red, clear vinyl, even back in those days. So yeah, thunder rock, great stuff. Now, lovin'. So I'm going to real quickly go through some backtrack. Now, the album never came out on CD. So I sent the album away to a company and had it burned to a CD back in the early 90s. And so this was M8 mastering. They did a bunch of that. And I think, this M8 later went on to do actual silver CDs. I think Matt Hunt might have been involved in some of the M8 stuff. But anyway, they released a lot of stuff. Millennium 8, M8. But back in the earlier days, I forget who I sent that stuff to, but whoever was in control at that point, I sent them the album. They burned it to CD. They did this for a handful of stuff that I needed. So that was the first time I put it on CD. And then in 2006, Girder Music released the album for the first time officially on CD, remastered for CD, included the bonus track from Surprise from the 12-inch single, because Rock On, the other song, was on the album, but Surprise wasn't, so they included Surprise on here as a bonus track. So this would have been the first time we got everything between the single and the album on CD. First time mastered for CD. 3 years later, they came back and reissued it in a digipack. And this was a joint effort between Girder and Retroactive Music. Basically the same album as 2006, except for they added the entire Blitzkrieg album. Now, the Blitzkrieg album was an album by the band before they changed the name to Stryken. They were called Stryker. And because of Stryker being popular, they changed their name to Stryken. So, but originally they released a cassette only called Stryker, Blitzkrieg. And for the first time ever on CD, we now have both of those on this one single disc. So that's a rundown real briefly of those reissues. So why do we need another reissue? Because we want all of it. This has the Stryken and the Stryker Blitzkrieg. Now in this case, the Stryker Blitzkrieg actually has been logoed Stryken. And then they have a Stryken disc here that's called Stryker, the early years. And that's a bunch of songs that were not on the Blitzkrieg album. Turns out that also on the early years is a song called Life Can't Be the Same, which I immediately recognized as being from Steven Stryker's solo album that came out a year or so later, a couple years later after Stryken. And he has re-recorded it on here. I'm hoping one day somebody will get the rights to release. This was a cassette-only release. Absolutely love it. Nothing like Stryken. Acoustic rock, folk rock, rock, light. It's light. It's acoustic. I love it. Love the album, and I'd love to see this on CD. It'd be nice if they'd put that in there. But anyway, this set is giving us as individual CDs. This has got First Strike plus a bunch of other stuff. A Man, I Need Your Love, Mama. These are songs that I need to read the notes on where they came from. But then intertwined in there, you've got the First Strike album plus Rock On, the extended version. You've got a live show intro. You've got a band intro and messages from a live clip. Anyway, and there's also a live intro to one of the other songs. So you've got that whole album intertwined with a bunch of other songs that I have not yet read the liner notes to see where they came from. Then we have Blitzkrieg that has been reissued, and the songs are in a different order. And I think it's just all of the same songs. I'm not sure if I recall now whether... I know they're in a different order, but this one's in a digipack. The other one's in a hard shell CD. Let me show that real quick. I should have done that a minute ago. It's a gold thing, but the awesome thing about this is all three of these come with the trading cards. So this is the one for the Stryken First Strike album or whatever. These are different though. These are the Legacy series, and this is starting with card number 7. So what are the first 6 cards? I don't know. These are not the same numbering or design as the other cards that we've been seeing, the foil-based cards and everything. So I don't know. I haven't read up on where these come into play. It is a gold disc. So I don't know. Are we starting a new series? And if so, who holds 1 through 6? I have yet to determine. Blitzkrieg is in a digipack. It folds out 3-fold. And it also has card number 8. So that's nice to have. And the CD looks pretty much the same. I'm part of the Inner Secret fan. Scott Waters did the artwork for this, and way back when he was doing this, he was like, check out, and he sent me this, and he had a couple different color schemes between the blues and the reds and the logo, and he asked me for my opinion. I can't recall whether I said that one, if he chose my opinion, or if he just said, forget you, Jeff. But anyway, it was nice to get a sneak peek and be involved. And then you got Stryker, the early years, also a digipack, also with a card of a picture from back in the day. Now, the Stryker and the Blitzkrieg and the early years all have a different bass player. It was later when they changed their name to Stryken, moved over to Texas, that they brought on Ezekiel Vade, was their bass player at the time. At this time, it was a different fella, which I had never seen before mentioned even on Discogs, but it's David Kurowski, plays bass, backing vocals, and dog barking. So yes, this to me is cream of the crop because I've never heard these before. I listened to this and Blitzkrieg because that's the same band, and there are 1 or 2 songs, I think 2 songs on, well, Surprise actually came from the Blitzkrieg album. Whether it was re-recorded, it might have been re-recorded by Stryken for their single, but it originates here. I already showed one of the other songs later made it to Steven's solo album. And one of the other songs on here called Played was later redone, lyrical change by Stryken and put on their album too. So you see a little bit of the growing there. Now, back in the day, the songs On the Phone and As the Rain Goes, the first 2 tracks on here, were released as a 7-inch single. I looked at a copy of it on eBay the other day. Somebody wanted, I think Scott pointed it out to me. The guy wanted like $80 for it, and he wouldn't really go down the price. So I'm glad to have them here, digitized with CD. But this album, to me, you know, you don't know what to expect. It's not metal. It's not thunder rock. It's nothing like Stryken. But it is absolutely, in my opinion, just awesome. I'm trying to think. It's poppy and quirky, and it reminds me of somebody. It's trying to tip my tongue. I want to say Adamant, but not really. But it's that kind of early Adamant and the Ant sound. But there's something. I'm like, this is somebody that I know and that I like, and I can't think of the band. But it's very different, but very enjoyable. And then the Blitzkrieg album rocks it up a little bit more, but still, because of the vocal styling, still kind of has. This is definitely a different feel. But you can kind of see the influence, and then when they get to Stryken, it's all out thunder rock. It's same vocal stylings, but with a different twist. But I was so thrilled to hear this. I just got tickled to death because I thought, I love this stuff. You can hear some of this on the phone and the single. You can hear it on YouTube. Check it out. It's different. I really dig it, and I'm absolutely thrilled to have this on CD. I'm just so thrilled, as you can tell, to have the whole set. So now the set was limited to, I forget how many copies, a couple hundred copies, but I did notice that each of the CDs has a separate barcode. So does that mean at some point they're going to sell them individually? It appears that that's where they're gearing towards, because why would you have a separate barcode for all 3 releases and a different barcode for the box set? I assume they're going to split them at some point. I don't know. I'm glad to have bought the box set. The packaging, the artwork, everything. Scott did a great job on all of this. I just was thrilled to death to have this after being such a long time fan with the albums and everything. So yeah, now all I'd like to see is for them to release the Steven stuff. I don't know if any other band members have done anything else, but that Steven album has been a favorite of mine since it came out. Absolutely love it. Would love to see that reissued officially on some kind of CD. But other than that, thrilled to have this box set. Check it out. Such a great band, and they have done a lot of great stuff in the past, and I am 100% thrilled to have this now in my collection. Wonderfully done, wonderfully remastered. Everything you could think of, I guess they tried to find. Even songs that have, some of those early year songs have never been released. Ever, ever, ever. Great stuff. Thanks for watching. Rock on and rock hard.